I'm listening to one of my favorite channels, Quote My Conscience.
What we're going through now.
And
19.
he's talking about safe space and these characters. He's talking about how can they afford to give up profit. Now, I was going to do a video on this last week and I forgot to do it. It's about the whole profit motif. What I was going to explain is to the system and to the ruling elite hegemony and kleptocrats around the world. It doesn't actually matter about profit. Revenue and profit mean nothing. This is why when people are saying, "Oh, you can't let the economy go down," when you looked at the media at first, when this first started happening, the creatures were pretending that they cared about the economy, and they were saying things that creatures would say, such as basically that human life doesn't matter at all, it's just the economy. Now that was dumb. But on the other end of the scale, a certain balance of human life, well, it wouldn't make sense to crash the economy just for a few people when you already have more dying of the flu. So there's all these different types of arguments. It depends how you deliver it, how your psyche actually is, how your psyche relates to the situation, what your intention is, and if you've actually got no soul inside. So let me explain this one, right? If you look at the monetary system, what it's designed to do is not necessarily have a situation where they can just print as much as they want and then go along forever and produce themselves infinite wealth, because that wealth they realize is worth less. The only things that are worth anything are commodities, are things like land, gold, oil, mineral wealth, that kind of stuff. At least until we leave the planet and there's infinite resource, if that's even possible, right? So the reason they can afford to look at this and basically mock us all is because no matter what happens when it comes to revenue and when it comes to monetary revenue, not actually trade, but monetary revenue, they don't really care if the system collapses now, because they already have more than the rest of us. If you take the top 50 people, you're probably going to take about 50% of the world's capital, that is, right? It's amazing how few of them there are to actually make that amount of wealth. And every time these chaotic situations happen, like the 1920s crash, or the depression, or the 2008 crash, doesn't matter when it was, the elite always make stupendous amounts of money. It's a massive wealth transfer. And that wealth transfer, of course, is in the monetary side of things, but where it really matters is where they put their money into, the safe haven assets, right? That's all they care about, because at the end of the day, they realize the monetary system's fake. But they still keep the money in it because they know that while this music's still playing, they can sit there and ponder where they're going to buy their new 60-foot yacht or 100-foot yacht or whatever it might be. They can sit there and ponder whether they're going to dump another billion on the stock market somehow and make 3 billion back, because then that 3 billion will buy a lot more gold and properties and whatever else it is. So when you understand this, you understand that the whole economy, when it comes to companies, these billion-dollar companies, even the ones that they're part of, it's actually meaningless, because when they take the game away, when they remove the monopoly money, then everything goes back to being only what you have in solid assets or tangible assets or digital gold, right? Like Bitcoin. So this is actually what's going on right now. Whether it'll be... See, I reckon in 2008, they could have done this. They could have collapsed the economy, and they probably pulled back and decided, you know what, let's give it one more shot and see if human beings are so stupid that we might be able to squeeze another 10% of the global wealth out of the hands of these people. And it's taken us quadrupling the population of the Earth to even realize, because this is what's truly happened, right? If you imagine the elite might have had maybe 30% of the wealth back, well, probably less than that, maybe 20% of the wealth back in 1900. And then in the case of 120 years, we now went from 1.75 billion people up to having 7.8 billion people, right? So fourfold increase in population. Yet that population that is, let's say, it's still going to be about 7.8 billion almost, because it's only a tiny fraction of people that have got all the wealth, right? Most of the wealth, the lion's share of it. So those people have existed, have been created. So let's say the extra the extra 6 billion people that were created through the oil boom and also through having medical advancements like penicillin, for example, those things resulted in the situation that allowed them to. Sorry, my TV just shut off here. Give me no light. All right, that have allowed them to have a rig paradigm that allows them to collect more, will displace the wealth out of the hands of the people, right? So this is why we are where we are. We could have a situation right now where they decide to change last minute to mix things up, to say let's have another go and let's keep this USD going, or let's move into USD, digital USD. Sorry, it's already digital, mostly digital. Let's say a crypto USD or an SDR, standard drawing rights, right? They could move to that sort of thing. They could say, all right, what we're going to do, just to be nice to you peasants, let's say your buying power of $1 is $1 right now. They'll give you buying power of 10 cents. So they'll give you the equivalent SDRs of 10 cents to fuck you over, increasing the wealth disparity. The same thing's happening right now with the helicopter money, the $1,200 in America or the $7,000 in New Zealand, or depending on how you get paid, because you can get $7,000 lump payment if you've got a business. Doesn't matter. Canada's doing 2,000. It's the same thing. What they're giving to the people is fuck all compared to what they're giving to the corporations. So what that does, it means the balance of power comes down for people and it comes up for businesses. And businesses are in the same realm as the government because they feed each other in an unholy union, right? That's how it's all working. You need to take your focus off money because it is meaningless. The ruling elite realize how meaningless money is. Do you really think they came up with the system and don't understand how it works? The whole thing is fake. They know it's fake, but it serves their ends. So when the questions get asked, why would they destroy their own economy? Because it's only us affected by it. They're never slaving away for dollars. They get given it. We're slaving away for dollars. We're sacrificing our wealth in one area to transfer to another. And the thing is, when you transfer your wealth into dollar, it is like musical chairs. When the music stops and you ain't got a chair to sit on, you're left holding a bag full of shit. You're left holding $1 trillion Zimbabwean note, or a Deutschmark, the original Deutschmark, or I don't know if you're aware of this. There was a thing called the Bradbury Pound that came out. Look up the Bradbury Pound, look up the Lincoln Greenback. These were currencies that came from the treasury of both countries to basically stave off hyperinflation. So America and England have been through this before, and that's before they had runaway quantitative easing. This is just in the days of the manipulation that you get from normal fractional reserve, okay? So yeah, the only thing you can really do is, I've been saying this since 2017 in my videos, right? Maybe before that, actually. Yeah, I do have another channel called Rum Boom. It's probably on that channel, rumboom0com. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually said that in 2015. But anyway, my point was that don't keep more cash than you need. So for example, you shouldn't need more, depending on your spending habits, what country you live in, that kind of thing. But I've found that, I used to keep cash of over 100k. Now I've never, for the past year and a half, I've never had more than 10k in my hand. And actually for the past few months, I've never had more than $2,000 in euros over here. Keep your money. Only keep as much currency as you think you'll need in the case of an emergency, because you can always switch it back if things don't look like they're going to go wrong. But right now you're sitting on a precipice of something that could fall right off the edge, and it would be really, really stupid to be sitting, with over. Okay, fine, you can sit with over 100 grand if you're worth 30 million. Different story. But if you're not, maybe it's probably too late to move your money into gold. It's probably too late to move your money into silver. You're pretty much fucked up, right? If you waited this long. Because the reason they're going down in value is because people are dumping derivatives and basically paper gold, paper what do you call it? Paper platinum plate. You might be able to buy platinum, and to be honest with you, if you could buy platinum, you should. The price has gone slightly up, but it's still at half the price of gold. Remember that platinum should be worth more than gold. So if anything, I'd probably say that platinum and silver are the two things to buy, but I know you can't buy. It's very hard to buy silver for under 59 an ounce, even though the spot price is 14.90. That tells you that there's two silver markets and two gold markets. The price the price of the spot price of silver has absolutely no bearing on the physical price of silver anymore. Same with gold. Gold is at what, 1,650 I think it is at the moment. Palladium, different story. Palladium's at 2,200 and something at the moment. I bought that for 500, sold it for 1,200. And this when I left America, and I thought, this is a kind of bull trap here. It's still going up. It is the bullion bull trap, I believe, especially when the car industry kind of slows down, as it probably is right now, and they don't need it for catalytic converters. That's what killed it for platinum. The change over from platinum to palladium, of course. So, but the simple fact is, platinum is 1/3 as rare as gold is. It's more dense. It has actually more industrial uses than gold. Because a lot of stuff with gold can be done with silver instead. So yeah, I mean, silver has a lot of use, of course, industrial uses. The ratio has gone beyond 100 to 1. Yeah, 100 to 1. It's as low as 50 to 1 sometimes. That's why silver's a good buy if you can find it. It's probably scrap silver is probably the easiest way you can actually get it now. I wouldn't worry about that. You know, when I've gone to sell gold in Austria here, which is the best place I've sold gold before, they gave me above the spot price. You know, this was about a year ago to buy this house. Well, the house is there. I'm not in it at the moment. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that one because I think people are getting very confused about this situation. Truthers, that is, I'm talking about. They're getting very confused with why would they do. They have no idea. They understand exactly how worthless the monetary market is. They understood that they already used that tool because it's a tool of theirs. Monetary market isn't for value. It's a tool. It's a tool it's basically a crowbar to get money out of your hands, to take away your birthright, to take away what you're going to pass on to your kids, to tax you beyond all belief. When they could just print the money and give to themselves. Clearly, they can clearly print as much. They can clearly print Bernie's Medicare for All plan. They just don't want to fucking do it. Why? Because they're cunts. That's just the truth of it. They're just absolute cunts. They, like, as many of us keep saying, they feed on collective energy, and that collective energy has to be negative energy. So the more in the world overall, the more Chinese you can get picking at the eyeball of a creature and boiling it live, or because it comes down to the animal level. It's all about negative energy. It doesn't matter what the creature is. It doesn't matter if it has a soul or not. It's about negative energy. So they want a world of chaos where you've got suffering. You've got people like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my house. Oh, this person's kicked out. Oh, I haven't got any job. All that worry and that it's all negative energy, and they feed off of it. It is their gold. This is their energy. But as far as rigging the game in the world, that's all about the collection of capital. That capital includes everything from land to real estate to mineral wealth to gold and any other commodities you can think of, right? That's it. The monetary system means nothing. I know I'm repeating myself now, but please get it into your heads. They don't give a fuck if they have to collapse it. It's actually no sacrifice. If you think about it for a second, let's say the monetary system completely collapses now and we go into a barter system. And people like Warren Buffett, like, oh no, I had so many billions sitting in US dollars. It doesn't matter. US dollar will be the last one to collapse, by the way. But unless the yuan takes over from it, sorry, unless the yuan takes over from it and becomes a petrodollar somehow, which I don't think is going to happen. But let's say it did, well, it'll be the second last to collapse then. But the reason it will be the last to collapse in most cases is because everyone's dumping commodities right now and to pay for the losses they've made in trading, right? This is not the big institutional smart money. This is, well, it's the smart-ish money. It's not the real top dog money, those that are market makers that basically have people trading on their behalf with the most powerful algorithmic trading bots out there, right? And I know this because our company has an exchange and we're working with these, well, trying to work with these market makers right now, and the tricks, you would not believe the things that these people do. It's demonic. So anyway, all they really care about is taking the whole chessboard. I heard a good analogy the other day on Chuck Body Outlines channel. Chuck Body Outline, yeah. He was saying that someone had said about the chessboard. you know, all the chess pieces at the end of the game, they all go in the same box. Well, I'd like to say that, you know, pawns are expendable first, and every other piece is, except when you get to the king, and then the queen obviously next, because she can move around. She's not very expendable, right? That's really how it works. It's a measure of expendability. But yes, we all go back in the same box at the end, unless unless some of us have a soul and can actually escape the box. Right. Anyway, I think I can leave it there. I've described that one well enough. Oh yeah, if it was the end game, then they are sitting there with all of these assets. So let's take someone like Warren Buffett. Let's say once the currencies had crashed, you couldn't say, well, this how much is it worth? $50, because $50 is no longer got any buying power. So you'd have to come up with new ways how to think of value of things, and you would have to explain it in ways of, well, it would have to probably come to gold as a standard unit, right? Or you would have to describe things. So, for example, oh yes, a house in a 5 bedroom house in the Hamptons. It's worth that. You know, my yacht is worth a 5 bedroom. It would become barter. You'd have to think of equivalent values, and what you used to buy for 200k versus what else you could buy for 200k. You know what I mean? A Lamborghini versus a house in this simple suburb just outside of Atlanta. I don't know. You know. So hopefully that makes sense. Well, I'm thinking again. Yeah. So if in that scenario, they would have their. Sorry, it's 6 in the morning. I've been trading all night. Yeah. So they would have their assets, right? So let's say Warren Buffett's worth 100 60-foot yachts, right? Some crazy Sunseeker thing or whatever the fuck it is, right? But right now he didn't get all his money out, so he's only got 20 of these Sunseeker yachts, plus masses of property, plus stocks in gold. Stocks in gold mining companies and silver mining companies and oil companies, right? So those are still valuable because those things are still needed, right? So they have a value still. Well, that value be used still to leverage against the positions that other people have to continue to fleet them over, because power or might is right. You know, they're the same kind of thing. Yeah, they don't have to. Let's say if the analogy I used earlier on to my brother when I was explaining this to him was, imagine we're sitting at a Monopoly board, right? And we end up playing for keeps, as far as like racing for pink slips kind of thing, you know? So we get in there and I've actually got nothing, right? So I'm playing with nothing to lose, and everyone goes to the table with 2 houses, $100,000, and I don't know, 100 grams of gold. By the end of the game, I could end up with 90% of all of the assets that they all have, even though I had nothing to lose, because I went in and the game was rigged. I was putting nothing on the table myself, and I had nothing to give anyway. But I managed to prize all of that out of their hands. And then with all of that out of their hands, getting the last 10% would be very simple. And that, my friends, is how the monetary system actually worked, what it was intended to do, what it's achieved, and why it doesn't matter if there's still just 10% sitting in our hands, because they will get the rest anyway. They can afford to implode the system, and that's the truth.